Figma was the tool that revolutionized design collaboration, but lately it feels like it's digging its own grave. How did a tool with so much promise end up here struggling to hold on to its creative edge? Today we're diving into Figma's story, its rise, its triumphs, and the critical choices that started burying its potential. Let's figure out how a design tool loved by millions ended up in the crosshairs of its own user base. Figma launched in 2015, and from day one, designers were in love. It felt like Figma had solved all the pain points that other tools left hanging. Real-time collaboration, browser-based access, and a seamless user experience. It was almost like they asked, what do designers want? And then actually listened. There was an undeniable magic to Figma. Even though it had fewer features than its main competitor Sketch, it won over the community because it did something that other tools didn't. It made collaboration painless. For the first time, designers didn't have to worry about sharing files, conflicting versions, or needing to be on a specific operating system. Mac, Windows, didn't matter. You could jump into a design session with anyone, anywhere, from any device. Figma didn't just change design, it opened it up. Remember the days of, oh no, I forgot to save? Yeah, Figma fixed that too. Autosaving and cloud storage became standard, and suddenly all those sleepless nights worrying about losing hours of work, gone. And yes, Adobe XD tried to compete, but Figma was unstoppable. But here's the thing, when you climb that high, you either keep going up or you start to wobble. And soon enough, Figma was about to hit its first wobble. By 2021, Figma was riding high. It was valued at $10 billion, and even venture capitalists were throwing money at it. $200 million from Andreessen Horowitz. Sounds like everything was set, right? But this is where things took a turn. Enter Adobe. In a move that shocked the design world, Adobe dropped $20 billion to buy Figma. To some, this was a validation of Figma's success. But to others, myself included, this acquisition felt more like a funeral procession than a victory lap. Adobe had a history of acquiring promising tools and then, well, let's just say treating them like plants that didn't need water. But the warning signs had already started showing before Adobe even walked in. Figma's early magic, its focus on simplicity and creativity, was starting to get lost. They began prioritizing features like dev mode and variables, tools that are great for organizing workflows, but did nothing for the creative side of design. It was like giving a painter a ruler instead of a brush. For a tool that started as a creative platform, it was shifting to serve a different audience. Developers, project managers, people who love structure and systems. It was clear Figma was turning from a designer's dream into a tool for systematization. And while structure is good, creativity doesn't thrive under rules and spreadsheets. Figma was slowly morphing into something it wasn't. Features like dev mode and variables showed this shift clearly. While these were undoubtedly useful for collaboration, they weren't tools that fueled creativity. They emphasized order over exploration, process over play. As designers, we crave tools that give us the freedom to experiment, to try wild ideas, to break things and put them back together. But Figma's updates were pulling it in the opposite direction. It felt like instead of adding new brushes to the toolbox, Figma was giving us a handbook on how to store the brushes in alphabetical order. Spoiler, nobody asked for that. Take the UI3 update in Figma. Sure, it was polished and visually appealing, but it lacked any real consideration for the designer's workflow. It was starting to feel like Figma was designing for developers and project managers, not designers. And here's where things really started to go south. Figma's creative roots, the thing that made it different, better, more exciting than Sketch or XD, were being buried under layers of systematization. The Adobe acquisition added fuel to this fire. For years, Figma had set itself apart from the giant corporations like Adobe, which were known for their bulky, bloated software and slow development. Figma was quick, nimble, and responsive to its users. But after the acquisition, Figma started to look more like the very thing it once rebelled against. One of the clearest signs? Adobe decided to stop developing Adobe XD altogether. On one hand, this was a win for Figma, one less competitor. But on the other hand, it meant that Figma's innovation was now firmly under Adobe's control. And for many designers, that meant only one thing: time to start looking for alternatives. Let's be clear, when a tool loses touch with its users, it loses everything. And that's where Figma is now. They've shifted their focus to broader audiences, catering to the needs of large corporations and development teams. But in doing so, they've forgotten about the people who made them what they are, designers. One perfect example: the forced migration of drafts into teams. Instead of keeping the simplicity that designers loved, Figma made a change that felt more like a corporate play than a creative one. No one was asking for that, but it happened anyway, and it felt like the user's needs were ignored in favor of what worked better for business. This disregard for user-centered design was the clearest sign that Figma's priorities had shifted. And when your product stops listening to its users, it's only a matter of time before those users start looking elsewhere. And guess what? That's exactly what's happening. Designers, fed up with the shift away from creativity, have started looking for alternatives. There isn't a clear competitor yet, but the demand is there. Figma may have the market now, but it's leaving a gaping hole for someone else to step in. Sure, Figma is still the go-to tool for many, but the dissatisfaction is real, and it's only a matter of time before a new player comes along, one that puts creativity back at the forefront. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this just a cycle all great companies go through? Maybe. But companies like Apple have shown us that innovation doesn't have to come at the expense of core principles. Apple has managed to stay innovative while staying true to its vision, and that's exactly what Figma should have done. Apple's design philosophy is all about fostering creativity while maintaining structure, and they've done that without losing sight of their core audience. Figma could have learned a lot from this approach. Instead, they tried to please everyone, and in doing so alienated the people who made them great. So where does this leave Figma? Can it recover from the choices that have buried its creative potential? It's not too late. Figma still holds enormous value. But if it continues down this path, focused on systematization and business over creativity, it may find itself on the outside of the very industry it revolutionized. What do you think? Can Figma get back to its creative roots, or is it too far gone? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in how other companies manage to stay true to their vision, check out our video on Apple's design philosophy. Thanks for watching.